Hi everyone, once again, welcome back in the next stop of our journey. So, till now we completed the two stations, and now we're on the third station that is called the life cycle management. That is called requirement life cycle management. Okay, the requirement life cycle management knowledge area describe the task that a BA need to perform in order to manage and maintain requirement and design information from inception to retirement. It means now I'm back from the customer side. I have a things in my bucket and I have to be start thinking that how I should manage it, plan it, maybe in the sprint, maybe in the PI planning, maybe in the sprint planning kind of things or other way. And I have to be take it from inception to the retirement. Means from starting to the end we have to be put here. These tasks describe establishing meaningful relationship between the related requirement. Let's say I got 30 requirements on the form. Now I have to be decide that how these requirements are interrelated and how the designing can be done. Assessing the change to the requirement and design when change are proposed. In case if any changes come in the design, then we have to be do and analyze the gaining consequences on change. If something is getting changed in the requirement, then definitely we have to be see the part as well. And in this part, the purpose of requirement lifecycle management is to ensure that business stakeholders and the solution requirement and design are aligned with one another. It means in the previous one, when I say we have to be confirm, we have to be communicate. Here, we have to make sure that the business, the stakeholder, and the requirement which I'm going to build and the solution I'm going to build should be work and aligned with each other so that there should not be no disparity. Maybe you can say, Atul, it is not required. No, it's required. Any point of time, any stakeholder can come and say, sorry, it's not my requirement. Then what will do? So we have to make sure that these things should be done in a proper manner. It involves a level of control over requirement and how requirement will be implemented. I can say something here a little bit that we can use script, agile or the sprint kind of thing. So the user story, we can still put it something here. Also, it helps to ensure that business analyst information is available for the future use. In case any disparity, in case we need to be rebuilt, in case we need to be enhanced. So this is a place which can be base for the next activity for us. So now in this domain, if I say here, let me come and show you here. Yes. The requirements life cycle, number one, is begin with the representation of the business need as a requirement. Number one, when someone and business said, okay, I need this thing, it is a starting point. Continues through a development and solution on the way, and at last, when this solution has been accepted and it reaches to the retirement state, it says life cycle has been end for that particular requirement. Again, in this area, BA need to do the 5 tasks, business analyst to do the 5 tasks. Number one is called the trace requirement. Very much important. What it says, the purpose of tracing of requirement is to ensure that requirement and designs at a different level are aligned with another and to manage effect of change on one level to the related requirements. It means that I have to make sure that in case any changes are coming or the requirement which already have should be consistent throughout the journey. It's not doesn't mean that okay, in the requirement gathering 1, 2, 3 are there, but in the design it's getting up and down. There's no relevance between these two. No. In this particular place, we have to make sure that all these things are interrelated with each other. And it enables, the traceability enables, number one, is fast and a simple impact analysis. You can, if you want, you can create the requirement traceability matrix here. Very simple, you can do that part because in the testing phase, you're going to be use that particular thing. Number two, more reliable discovery of inconsistency because it's a sign of has been done in the previous one. But still, if something goes wrong, you can do it via the traceability matrix. And in case any gap came, I give one example. We were implementing the SLA for one of the customer, and when we get the requirement and we're building it, our development was going on, Then we found there's a difference between these two things. One side customers say yes, other side customers say no. So there's a difference. So how to maintain? It is a part, it is a place where you have to make sure that things has been captured. So traceability metrics come here. It's important. And the third point is deeper insights into the scope and the complexity. Because when we are getting a requirement, we don't understand or we don't think about how much tough to do this part, how much deeper it's or how much complex it is. But when we actually start the development part, then we came to know all these things. So it is a place where we can get this idea. And it should be throughout. When I say throughout, means from inception till the retirement, as this particular point say. In the next part, in the next task, there is a maintain the requirement. Another important point. Like maintaining a relationship is important the same way maintaining a requirement is also so much important here. The purpose of maintain requirement is to retain the requirement accuracy and the consistency throughout the and beyond the change during the entire life cycle. This is important. Maybe when I go to the requirement gathering, I told to my customer, or my customer told me I need X, Y, Z. But when I'm maintaining it, later customer says, no, I need A, B, C, D, S. Then it creates a problem for me. So in this particular part, I have to make sure that every time I should discuss the requirement with my customers from time to time just to get a refreshing course, I can say refresher part on that part, and should be maintained properly and accurate properly, because today's requirement can be a input for the tomorrow's work as well. In this part, it is important. Number one, I can say a requirement that represent a ongoing or must be maintained to ensure it remains valid over the time. Sometimes, let's say I'm doing an integration of the two systems. So it's an ongoing requirement because doing in the phases, one incident, then change, then problem, then request, then knowledge. So it's an ongoing requirement. So in this case, it is important that it should be consistent and should be accurate and valid over the time as well. To maximize the benefit of maintaining and reusing requirement, we should use I can say the requirement should be consistently represented. So whenever you're going to be start a new sprint, better you discuss this requirement with the customer upfront. Don't assume that okay, the requirement gathering we're done, so we're going to build it. No, it's a wrong assumption. Better put some time and discuss with the customer. Reviewed and approved the maintenance using a standardized process. If customer says no, I want to change it, don't go and make a change just on the relationship perspective. No, better go for the standard process which we discussed in our previous one, in the planning phase which we discussed, right? And the last, keep the information there which is easily accessible and understandable. Don't try to be write so much for business logics or technical jargons kind of things. Try to maintain the simple format. The third one, that is called the prioritization. I still remember a question which has been asked to me in the interview, that who do the prioritization? Is it done by the product owner? Is it done by the scrum master? Is it done by the business analyst? Or is it done by the business process consultant? So I said it's done by everybody in all together, because BA can tell, or the BPC can tell from the process perspective, architect can tell from the competitive perspective, and other product owner can be tell from their requirement perspective or the business benefit perspective. So it is important in this point that we have to be prioritized. See, I am a BA, it doesn't mean that I can do everything with my own. No. For me, my partner, my client partner, my partner is my stakeholders. So I have to do everything with the support of them, with the collaboration with them only. That is the reason it is important to maintain the healthy relationship. So what we have to do in this part is that the purpose of prioritization is to rank the requirement in the order which is relevant for the importance. Number one, prioritization is an act of ranking requirement, determine their relative importance to the stakeholder. What this requirement is going to benefit to my stakeholder, on the basis I can rank it. There are multiple factors, maybe 2 or 3 factors I can tell, but there are another factors also involved. But these are the prime factors which we have to be considered. Second factor is that priority can be defined or refer as a relative value of a requirement in the sequence as well. That if I not do perform this activity or this requirement, it can impact the other requirement as well. That is a part. And third, it is an ongoing process. It doesn't mean that in a one sprint you're done, it's not required in the next sprint. It may require in the sprint second as well, but it is an ongoing process. That is important here. The fourth one, that is called the requirement changes. Assess the requirement changes. Important point. You can see here. Assess means if the requirement get changed, how to assess that part. Important. It's not like change requirement. The word changes doesn't mean that what I'm going to be achieved now. The changes means what customer gave to me. They're changing their words. They're changing their work now. So it is a assess the requirement changes here. The purpose of assess requirement changes to evaluate the implication of the proposed requirement and to the designs. That is number 1 point. Customer say, no, we are building integration. He said, no, I want integration via X module first or via X method. Now they're changing it. What we have proposed earlier, they're changing it and they're proposing something new. So we have to be making implication that how it's going to be affected to my design and the other requirements. In the assess requirement change, task is performed as a new need. It doesn't mean that it's the old one. It's a new need completely. So it should be go through the complete strategy, complete proper process. Then only we can accept it. And the last, assessment must be performed to determine whether a proposed change will increase the value of solution or what action should be taken. I give you a normal example. In one of my projects, I was working and it was told by customer, can we change the value of this data type of this particular field? I said, yes, we can make a change it. But it was just a single from checkbox, I can want to go for the drop down value. But in the background, if I make a change, there's a lot of places need to be changed. So these kind of things should be assessed. What I'm going to be achieved if I make a change in this proposal, if I accept the proposed part. And the last, the task which is becoming here is called this part, I can say. Also, one more thing we have to make sure in the assessing part that if any proposed changes, anything new is coming in the system, it should be aligned with the overall strategy. Number 1 part. Second, the effect value of the delivered to the business and the stakeholder. The value which are going to be achieved should be actually impactful to the customers or the stakeholders. Impact the time of delivery and the resources. It is also we have to be considered if we are accepting it. This is very much important point. We as a business analyst, we say, okay, we can do it. But we have to be think that if we do this change at point of time, how it's going to be, make sure it's not impacting any other things on the place. And it may change, it may affect, it may alter your risk, opportunities and constraints as well. So as a business analyst, I have to be think on these 4 parameters and I have to be say, I'm going to be accepted or not. Okay, and the last, it says the approve requirement. The purpose of approve requirement is to obtain the final sign-off, I can say. But it is not our last station. Don't worry, it's not our last station. We still have 3 more stations to be go, or the 4 more stations to be go. Okay. In this particular part, a business analyst are responsible for ensuring clear communication of the requirement. That you say X, I am mentioning X. This is what should be there. This design has been presented. You give a sign of this design. It's done. It should be a clear communication in this particular part. Then it's considered as an approved one. Approval of the requirement and design must be a formal. Maybe in a meeting, maybe in a template, maybe in the recorded format, but it should be a formal approach. Try or avoid informal methods. On the phone, it's done. No. That's not a good approach actually here. And the last, adaptive approach is typically approve requirement only when the construction or the implementation of solution meeting has been happened. So once you draw some kind of a prototyping kind of things, a POC kind of things, then you can show and get a sign off. That is also one of the things. Plus the last point, this should be approved with the key stakeholders who are actually going to be affected by this particular requirement or getting the value from this particular requirement. So this is very much important in this part. And last, the business analyst work with the key stakeholder to gain the consequences of a new or the change requirement. You should not take a decision on everybody's behalf. You are or we are just a business analyst. We have to take the consequences. We have to take the approval from the required stakeholder, the key stakeholder, in case anything new has been proposed, in case anything has been changed in the previous requirement part. Okay, and now let's come back to our now create part here. So in this, what we say that we have to be trace the requirement, maintain the requirement. Let's come here and see. So let me come here and success pack. Let me take my, yeah, here. Let me change it to the implementation and let me change to the this one. Let's say ITSM part again. Okay, if you want to add any, you can add a new product as well. That's fine. That's not a case for me. Okay, so let's say I want to go for this one, or operate as a IaaS service. So I can go here. I'm intentionally I am changing the success pack so that you or we or I should get an idea that how ServiceNow defining the things here. Okay, so now the question comes after this particular things part, you can go for the story definement. I can say our task of these things, requirement, maintain requirement, prioritization, you can do in the story refinement and the these things. So you can start drafting the capture stories. Now question come, Atul, do we need to write the stories as well? If I give you a trick, if I give you the tip here is that in the if you go to the assets of the in the now create, you can check the starter stories of the respective modules as well, like incident management. I can say starter stories, request management starter stories, or release management starter stories. But these are the helpful when you're going for a fresh implementation for the first into the customer. Okay, and you can see the guidance here that how to create the story here. If I come back here again, let me come here. So this is what I can start maintaining it. It's just a capturing part. Let me come here and click here. So you can say document process design and data flows. Here you can start your designing part a little bit more. Even though I'm saying few things you can use in this station, few things you can use in the next station, few things you can do in the next station as well. So and last, if I say obtain approval on the final designs, maybe you can say approval obtain on the final stories. You can use this process guides as well if you want to do backlog refinements kind of things. You can do here. The intention is that before you think that I have to be getting from the scratch, better go to the now create and think and search. You will definitely get some ideas. Okay, so now it's again time come for me to take a break and let's connect in the next station very quickly. Bye bye.